Hey up everybody, my name's Joshua Morrison, director of Johnny Moz's Lessons in Confidence. Today I want to talk a little bit about driving, because I've been doing driving lessons lately, right? And I've just found it interesting, the perspective of the driver. Now I know I've got a fair bit of an American audience, and if you're American you probably already know how to drive. You're probably thinking, oh, he's like in his mid-20s, how does he not know how to drive yet? Well, the reason for that is because I live in London and you don't really need a car to get around, so there's not really like that pressure to start driving. Most of my friends can't drive. There's only a few people I know that can drive, and they tend to be a bit older. So, or they've grown up outside of London and they've come into London. That's why they know how to drive. So my perspective of driving is this skill that other people have that I don't, right? And I tried to do my driving lessons about 3 years ago, and I did one. And my driving instructor just wasn't very good. He was very panicky. Like, I understand, right, that it's probably a bit nerve-wracking to have someone who doesn't know how to drive behind the wheel. But as a driving instructor, surely it's your job to not like freak out when I nearly crash, because that doesn't help matters. That doesn't make me less likely to crash. It makes me more likely to crash because you're freaking me out. I'm already freaked out because I don't know how to drive, right? You're not helping matters, right? That was my first lesson, and I had that. And I was sort of looking at him and the way that he would actually drive, right? He was rolling back in a traffic jam down a hill, and I was like, you're not meant to do that. I don't know how to drive, and I'm sure you're not meant to do that, right? And like, he was checking his phone and stuff while he was driving. Look, I'm not like, you know, I'm not really annoying about that. It's like, you're on your phone while you're driving. It's like, yeah, it is illegal, right? But if it's just like a mate or whatever, I'm not gonna be like, get off your fucking phone now and pay attention to the road. But if it's your driving instructor, there's kind of higher expectations on that, you know? So that was a little bit, so I cancelled the lessons with that guy, and because it put me off driving for a long time. It really scared me and freaked me out, and it made me feel like I was never going to be able to drive. It was completely impossible, because I was so aware that I was in control of this 2-ton death machine, right? I was driving along on this first lesson a few years ago, and I was driving down a little road, basic road, and there was a cyclist that was coming along, and all I could imagine was just the scrape of the metal of the bicycle going under the tires, and like this guy's, like the cyclist's, like blood and guts spilling out of him onto the road underneath my 2-ton death machine. And that was an image that was really hard to get out. And now though, when I'm doing the driving lessons with this new instructor, he's way better, right? He doesn't freak out when I'm nearly like, you know, about to crash. That's not to say he's not stern, right? There's a difference between stern and freaked out, right? Like if I'm not stopping in a way that I should be, like stop, right? And there's layers of intensity, but none of those layers of intensity involve him being freaked out, right? I never feel like I'm not in safe hands, right? And that has made it so much better, so much easier to figure out the ability to have this skill that other people are able to have. Like in America, everyone can fucking drive, right? Because the infrastructure lends itself to that kind of thing, because the car industry lobbied the government in the 30s and the 40s to basically put in the motorways and highways all over the place, and to put road infrastructure in place of, you know, public transport infrastructure and that kind of thing. So that's why everyone there is able to drive. So they're like, if you're American and looking at this 25-year-old man still figuring out how to drive, it might seem a little bit odd, right? But you know, when I do eventually get my license, right, I feel like it's just going to add so much extra confidence, because something that I've noticed about driving so far is that it's important to recognize that you are in the right, and you have, say, the right of way when you do have the right of way, and that you shouldn't let what other people think get in your way. You shouldn't let, say, a car behind you pester you into doing something, right? Or say if you're stopped at a traffic light, right, and I'm trying to find the biting point to start moving, right? And because I'm new at driving, I need to do that quite slowly, because I need to actually consciously think about it, right? Now, it's very easy in that situation to let the cars behind you, the pile-up behind you, get to you and to make you want to panic. And if you start panicking while you're doing that kind of thing and you don't know how to drive, you're going to fuck it up, and you're going to end up stalling the car or causing some kind of issue or whatever, right? I don't know the specifics, but I think that would cause you to stall the car, right? Which is not going to make things any better. So it's very important to just let the pressure sort of wash through you without letting it get to you. It comes in and around you like that, right? Rather than boom, like that, right in the back of the head, right? In a metaphorical, emotional pressure sort of sense, right? So it's very important to have that confidence in yourself to drive, right? Anytime that I've been in the car with, people, friends and stuff, going up north or like going around town and stuff, and I'm in the car and like the person that I'm with who's driving the car is sort of talking about the process of driving. What I'm noticing is it's confidence in yourself to be correct, right? To judge a gap and know that you can get through it and not to doubt yourself. There's a lot of because doubt can cause accidents, right? Is what I seem to notice, right? And obviously because I don't know how to drive, I'm doubting myself a lot, and that's where the instructor comes in to make you sort of reassure you, like, no, you've got enough space, don't worry about it, you can get through that, you're good there, you can do that, yep, and yeah, you can go into third gear if you want now, yeah, okay, and that kind of thing, right? So I was driving on the dual carriageway, which is like a small motorway, right? And I was going, I think I was in fourth gear for a bit, and I was doing like 38, 39 miles an hour. It was a 40 mile an hour zone. And I was driving along, right? Your foot's barely even on the accelerator. It's not really doing much on the accelerator. It's kind of the odd like little push down, little tap, just to give you a bit of extra boost, right? Because when you're in fourth gear, you're kind of sitting at around sort of 30-ish miles an hour, right? And so that's when you're not even, that's the default. When if you take your foot off all the pedals, it will go at about 30 miles an hour-ish, maybe a little bit less, right? And that is very satisfying when you just put the little occasional accelerator down. It's really quite fun, right? And I remember driving, right? And I was just sort of like, I almost felt like a god, right? It's so dumb. I know it's really dumb, but I just felt like power because I'm in control of this 2-ton death machine, right? I'm in control of something that is very, very powerful, right? I could end lives, right? If I just did that, right? If I just did that, I could kill someone over there, right? Or I could go that way and I could go onto the pavement. I could kill someone that side, right? Obviously, I'm not going to, right? Because that's where the learning to drive aspect comes in, right? But the fact that it's important to be conscious of that. I remember telling my driving instructor on the first lesson, like, I'm just really conscious of the fact that I'm in control of a 2-ton death machine. And he was like, that's a good attitude to have. And he was sort of like, a lot of sort of students that I get don't think about that. They sort of see it more like they're playing Mario Kart or like go-karts or whatever. They see it like that, like it's just, and they don't take the gravity of the vehicle that you're controlling into account. I'm very, very conscious of that fact, and it does kind of freak me out. But it's very satisfying at the same time. And I'm hoping I can get my license by sort of September, maybe October-ish sort of time. Depends on how many times I need to take the test. So that's kind of something that I'm really focusing in on at the moment, right? This sort of season and into the summer as well, I'm going to be spending a lot of time studying the theory, reading the highway code, all that kind of stuff, just to make sure that I know how to drive, because it's an incredibly important skill, especially in like this industry, the videography sort of industry, to be able to get to random places, because a lot of gigs don't happen near a train station, they happen in the middle of fucking nowhere. So it'd be very useful to have that. And also I think it would just be nice to be able to just up and just fuck off whenever I want, right? Like I could just decide, I want to drive up north and maybe stay up there for a couple of days. Well, I can, right? I mean, I know I can anyway, I can just get the train, but that's just extra effort. I have to, book the train. I have to figure out like what trains I'm getting where, blah, blah, blah. Instead of just leave the house, get in the car, whoosh, right? That's brilliant, and the idea that I'll be able to take the, friends or family or whatever and do stuff with them in the car is quite satisfying, that I'll be able to be of some kind of use to, I guess, the people that are important to me. Because that's an important thing, any sort of emergency can happen where you need to be able to drive, right? Say if I need to take someone to the hospital or whatever, it's important to have the skill so that I'm not sat there with a dying patient waiting at a bus stop, right? Or sitting there waiting for the ambulance to come. And, I don't, with the state of the NHS at the moment, there's so many issues where it could take a long time for an ambulance to arrive. I remember someone that was close to me called an ambulance a few years ago, waited 6 hours and just no ambulance showed up. So it's, you can't guarantee that an ambulance is actually going to come. So it'd be useful to have that skill so that I could take control of the situation and get that person to the hospital or whatever. That's just one example, right? But the point is that it's useful to have that skill when and as you need it. And it's not like, I don't think I'd buy a car because, you know, I do still live in London and you don't really need a car, right? I'd probably get like, you know, hire cars whenever I feel like I need one. If I've got a particular gig or whatever, just get a car specifically for that. And I try and, you know, stay driving regularly, at least a few times a month, because you need to be able to keep that skill active. It's the same way if you don't, like I spent 3 years learning Japanese. Would you have ever guessed? Have I ever pulled out Japanese in this, right? No, because I've forgotten it all, because I haven't thought about speaking Japanese for like 8 years. I used to watch a lot of anime. I haven't spoken Japanese for like 8, 9 years, right? So I don't know how to do it. I got to the point where I could ask for directions and have a small little conversation with bartender in Japanese. Fuck knows now. I can't remember what hello is. Konnichiwa, that's it. I can't remember what sayonara is, goodbye. And I can't remember what yes is. I think no is ni, but I don't remember what yes is in Japanese. But you get my point, right? That if you don't continue to use a skill, then you're going to lose it. Same way if I didn't film anything for 2 years, I probably wouldn't be able to get any good shots, right? Say if I just filmed nothing and then 2 years later I came back with more Johnny Mozza talking videos, right? Then I wouldn't be able to, they wouldn't look as good, right? As some of them have, because I haven't been flexing that skill. Same way, you know, you go to the gym regularly to keep, you know, tensing your muscles so that you can actually get stronger, right? If you stop, then you're going to stop improving, right? So that's why I want to just stay in the habit of driving fairly regularly, even after I get the license, right? And yeah, I thought I'd just make a little, you know, casual video about, you know, my experiences of having these driving lessons. I've been going, you know, so far my biggest weakness has been observation, right? I'm getting better. I'm trying to now make more of an effort to like do, like triple check, not as in like do, but more like 1, 2, 3, back to the road. 1, back mirror, left mirror, right mirror, back to the road. That kind of thing, right? And I'm making sure to check that blind spot, right, when I need to, right, which is fairly often, right? And you know, the kind of thing like if you're about to turn left, then you need to check the left mirror, make sure you're not gonna like, you know, fuck someone up, or yeah, that kind of thing, right? Because it's what I've noticed, like on my first lesson when I was driving down a road, and I said to my instructor, I can see it all in front of me and I'm observing it all, but it feels more like a big painting. Like imagine looking at a painting of some rolling hills, right? You can obviously tell that the small hills are more in the distance, right? And the bigger hills are nearer to you, but it still feels like a 2D plane because it's a painting. It's not like I'm seeing all the objects in front of me, right? And when I finished that first lesson, it was like my legs had PTSD. It's like, because, you know, your legs are busy doing all that sort of stuff, right? So my legs were sitting there trying to do that, even though I was just walking around. And they felt a little bit unstable. This time I finished the lesson, I don't have any PTSD in the legs. So that, I think, is pretty good progress. And yeah. I suppose that's going to be the video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on driving when you were doing your driving lessons, or if you haven't done driving lessons yet, what do you think about them from the past, present or future sort of sense? Are you planning on doing them? Did you do them ages ago? Is my experience relatable to you? Is it not? What are they like in America? Is it this kind of thing? I don't know. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care and bye-bye. And I'm going to close this out by just showing you some cars, because, like, think about it, right? They're quite big, burly fucking things. Look at that. It's huge, right? This is me for comparison. It's massive.